More cruise ships are reporting COVID-19 cases on board, but officials say safety plans are working on their cruise lines. A Royal Caribbean captain was forced to turn an entire ship full of passengers around because of the actions of one person. There's a brand new cruise ship that's just been delivered, and I can't wait to show it to you. Plus, the Queen Mary 2 has just completed a transatlantic crossing. She stopped in New York City, and there are major problems on board. We'll give you all the details. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel again today. Well, we are just 4 days away from me being able to tell you Merry Christmas, and hopefully that means you have all of your Christmas shopping completed by this point. Now, if you don't, however, there are some links in my description box below this video to some really good stocking stuffer sized cruise swag items available from Amazon for delivery by Christmas time. I'd encourage you to check that out in the description box below this video. So before we hop into today's cruise news, there's just a little bit more housekeeping to get through, and that comes in the form of a cruise swag giveaway. That's right, the holidays are here, everybody's running around doing things for other people, and I thought, what better time to give back to everybody that's done so much for me here this year in helping to grow the Midships channel. So I'm going to be giving away my absolute favorite cruise swag item from the channel this year. It is the passport holder with COVID card insert. I'm going to be giving a pair of these away to the cruise swag giveaway winner. And so if you'd like to get entered to win a pair of these passport holders with COVID card insert, the contest runs through Christmas Day at noon Eastern. So that's December 25th at noon Eastern. This is not sponsored by YouTube. It's only sponsored here by the Midships channel. And if you'd like to know how to enter for the contest, go ahead and watch for a few more minutes longer, because I'm going to tell you exactly how to enter later on in today's episode. Now let's hop into today's cruise news with our first story from the Orlando Sentinel about how cruise officials think that the COVID policies on board their ships are working. By Richard Trubeau. More cruise ships report COVID cases, but officials say safety plans have been working. Cruise lines will be the first to tell you that COVID-19 is not going away, but they also say safety protocols are in place to weather the storm when cases do appear on board. With the rise of the Omicron variant throughout the US, nearly 1/3 of ships currently sailing from US waters have, within the last week, had documented enough cases on board to merit follow-up investigations from the US CDC. One of the largest reports of cases occurred last week, with Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas reporting 48 cases of COVID from a 7-night sailing that returned to Miami on Saturday. A statement from the line said some of those infected were taken off the ship earlier in the sailing, but most disembarked at the end of the cruise, and the cases did not affect the ship's turnaround for their next voyage. The cruise line said most of the cases were asymptomatic or showed mild symptoms. According to an update on Monday, with reported cases through December 17th, the CDC lists 33 vessels in yellow status, while 7 have a less severe orange status. Another 69 vessels remain in green status with no reported COVID cases on board. Port Canaveral CEO John Murray says that despite the rise in Omicron, the measures that have been in place since business ramped up this past summer remain the same. Our safety protocols and practices have not changed. We continue to work closely with our cruise partners, and we will support them as necessary. Cruise lines have been running between 50 to 80% occupied for the most part since ramping up operations over the summer, and that's only part of many COVID-19 safety measures put in place for the cruise industry. Port Canaveral CEO John Murray went on to say, "I've said all along since I've been standing here for 18 months that the protocols are what make it happen. You can manage anything if you have the right protocols in place, and the cruise lines have it." So there you go, a little bit of good news coming out from Port Canaveral about the cruise industry as a whole. I know personally there's no place that I feel safer from COVID than on board a cruise ship. Well, hey there, it's Corey from the future, and I wanted to interrupt your cruise news to remind you that Midships is on Instagram. All you have to do to find us is search for Midships Cruise. We'll be right there. Go ahead and give us a follow. It's the best place to receive updates on the Midships channel. Well, there's a brand new cruise ship that will soon be hitting the seas, and I'd like to share it with you now from cruiseindustrynews.com. The new AIDA Cosma cruise ship has been delivered. AIDA Cruises took delivery of their newest ship, the AIDA Cosma, in Germany from the Meyer Werft shipyard earlier today. It's the company's second new build powered by liquefied natural gas, according to a press release, and gives AIDA their 14th ship. And if you're not familiar, AIDA is a Carnival Corporation brand out of Germany. The ship will enter service in the first quarter of next year, sailing from Hamburg on 7-day so-called Metropolis voyages. And towards the end of next year, the AIDA Cosmo will move over to Dubai to begin her winter season. Now for our next story, we're going to talk about one of the most iconic sailing ships of our generation, and that, of course, is the Queen Mary II. She's recently completed the first leg, the transatlantic crossing, of her current itinerary, and she ran into a major snag on her way over towards New York City. We'll pick up the story there from NBC4 New York. Vaccinated guests on luxury cruise ship to Caribbean test positive, must isolate in New York City. 10 passengers from the luxury cruise ship Queen Mary II, who arrived in Brooklyn Harbor Monday after sailing across the Atlantic en route to the Caribbean for the holiday, have tested positive for COVID-19 and now will be spending Christmas in frigid New York City, according to officials. All travelers on Cunard's Queen Mary II, which the company bills as the greatest ocean liner in the world, had to be fully vaccinated and tested for COVID just before they boarded in Britain's Southampton, suggesting that these are all breakthrough cases. A total of 1,473 guests were aboard the ship when it reached New York City, so the infection represents less than 1% of all those on board. It's not clear how many crew members serve Queen Mary II, but they won't be serving these 10 guests for the time being. And Cunard Line has put out a statement which we'll read now. During routine testing, 10 guests tested positive for COVID and are being disembarked in New York City in line with our framework of protocols. As of now, the COVID positive guests will have to isolate in New York City, which is in the midst of a record-breaking viral surge nearly 2 years into the pandemic, as the ship continues on down to the Caribbean. The guests can rejoin Queen Mary II on January 3rd when she returns to New York City on her way back to England if they're able to produce negative test results. So imagine you saved up, you've waited to take a once-in-a-lifetime cruise, transatlantic on the Queen Mary II, only to have your dream vacation cut short in frigid New York City over Christmas because you came down with COVID. That is such a tough break for everybody involved and disembarked on the Queen Mary II. I wish you all a speedy recovery. All right. You've made it far enough into the episode that I'm going to let you know how you can get entered to win a pair of these passport holders with COVID card inserts. And all you have to do to be entered to win is go ahead and comment below this video. Where are you spending Christmas this year? And don't forget, to be eligible to win this Cruise Swag giveaway, you have to be 18 years or older, be a resident of the United States, a subscriber to the Midships channel, and you have to have commented down below this video. The contest closes December 25th at noon Eastern Time, and the winner will be announced in the December 25th Midships episode. Now it's time to get into our thumbnail story about the captain of the Odyssey of the Seas saying, "Don't make me turn this ship around." From the YucatanTimes.com, Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas returns to port because of COVID. A Royal Caribbean international ship, the Odyssey of the Seas, returned to port to disembark a passenger with COVID-19, just 1 day after departing from Fort Lauderdale. The cruise had set out on Saturday on an 8-night itinerary from Florida before returning on Sunday. Royal Caribbean spokesperson Lion Sierra Caro said the following: "The guest, who was symptomatic prior to boarding but did not notify us, reported to the medical center and subsequently tested positive for COVID. He and his close contacts were quarantined and disembarked in Fort Lauderdale to return home. The passenger and his family disembarked, according to Sierra Caro, and they said there were no additional close contacts." Shortly after, the ship went back to sea and resumed its itinerary. On Monday night, the ship was en route to Curacao, according to Cruise Mapper, a website that tracks cruise ship locations across the globe. According to Royal Caribbean, the decision to return to port was less about turning back and more about the best way to mobilize our guests. It was the quickest option for the ship to return to Fort Lauderdale. Odyssey of the Seas is currently in yellow status and under investigation by the Center for Disease Control, according to the health agency's website. The CDC told USA Today early Tuesday in a statement that the health agency is aware of the recent disembarkation of a passenger who tested positive aboard Odyssey of the Seas. CDC spokesperson David Dingle said the following: This is a routine protocol for COVID-19 positive passengers, regardless of symptom status, on board Royal Caribbean International ships. And of note, even though they return to Fort Lauderdale, Odyssey of the Seas is not expected to have any delays in their overall itinerary for their cruise. So it sounds like this story has a happy ending for everybody who did the right thing. If you made it this far into today's episode, why haven't you subscribed to the channel yet? And remember, our cruise swag giveaway goes until December 25th at noon Eastern. All you have to do is comment down below this video where you're spending Christmas Day. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today, and until tomorrow, we'll see ya on the midships.